We talked to Aaron Ekblad. He's excited.
Yep.
What's the excitement level for you, the team, and how do you approach the weekend now with him?
Really, I'm really pleased with the way we survived that injury. I would never come out and tell you that I was worried about it, but you take him out of your lineup for – it was probably we lost him in Game 3. So and he's such an important part of what we do right now. So I was concerned, and I'm really happy the way it went. We also learned a whole bunch of things along the way, right? We added Mahura. We learned about him. That he and Gudish can be a real solid pair. Then Montour's minutes, driven up to where that he could perform. We found Kierstead as a player that can play meaningful minutes for us. So it was a good experience, but we don't need to go through it again.
And now no better way to dive back in than against the Oilers and their attack tomorrow. How do you approach this
schedule, one? You want your best skating defenseman in your lineup for that one, right? So we were kind of happy that it timed out the way it did. Because we're going to need to skate very, very well, and even if you skate really well, it's still not going to be enough. They're the two, very special players that I used to see a lot there in Winnipeg, and they are worth watching.
Ekblad was stalled out there. I mean, did you just want to keep Montour and Forsling together? Or was that part of the thought process, at least initially?
Yeah, again, it's about learning things. So if Ekblad and Stahl, two long men with really, really good sticks, can become, it won't affect it. Actually, it'll get Stahl an opportunity to play with a bigger minute guy. But we like the way Forsling and Montour played. We can flip that in game, and we may. The other is a little protection. First game back after being out a month, he doesn't need to run against McDavid every shift. He play against Draisaitl. So there's not a shift off here, unfortunately, to ease him back in. So, but we just thought leave the other pairs the way they are.
And Hornquist, he was out there full practice today. What's his status?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for clearance on him. We expect to get it. And if it not, we expect to get it tomorrow. So.
And to be able to have basically your opening day lineup back if
Correct.
Hornquist does come back, to be able to basically be back at square one where you guys were hoping to be at this
right,
point.
and then the difference would be Stahl at center, right? And then we're not settled on lines that are going to move around, but we've found pairs that we like an awful lot together, and so it'll become the first game to see it all together, maybe in one place.
And Rudy not out there.
Yeah, so we have to be at 20 once Aaron Ekblad came back. So Rudolph did go on waivers today, and if he's not picked up, he would be assigned. We are in a very unique situation, and we like Balcers a lot, and I'm hopeful that we don't lose them because we are going to get nicked up again, and we're going to need players back up, but we can't run 21.
Now, sending into the minors, does that alleviate your cap?
Oh, so I'm only the messenger here. I do not delve into capology because that's like right beside a Ouija board, right? They're just the same. Yes, that's the way it was explained to me. This was a necessary event.
Well, for those of us from Edmonton here, what has Matthew Tkachuk brought to your team?
A bunch of things that I know him like Edmonton knows him, right? So Winnipeg and Edmonton have the same feel for Matthew before you get to stand behind the bench with him. I knew he was a good player, but I didn't understand how good his hands were. Like in traffic areas, some of the things that he can do with the puck are incredible. He also has a real strong vision of the game. So he can take a route that you kind of mandate your team runs, and then realize when it's not the right time to run that route, but not play his own game. He can ad-lib appropriately, and then I think what the biggest surprise is, because you don't know their personalities and you don't know the man until you spend time with them, is how genuinely kind he is to everybody off the ice, teammates, equipment people, bus drivers, everybody. He is just an incredible gentleman. So those are the things you don't know, right? When you're coaching against the guy that's always causing scrums, you don't project that idea onto him at all, right? And he's been he's been a big eye opener for me. I've really enjoyed my time with him.
That's what I was going to ask. It's probably more fun to coach him than coach against him.
Oh, for sure. And then appreciate him, I think, too. So you don't appreciate a guy, and that can be any good player. You don't appreciate a player until you get on the ice with them and practice it day after day, and then you appreciate their talent level, and he's an exceptionally talented man.
He's obviously coming off a suspension. Do you have to rein him in at all, or have you kind of found that yet at times?
No, not at all. I haven't. No, your experience with one-off when you're here daily, it's not like that at all. He's a hard-working guy. He's in the gym, but he's not out of control on the ice. I mean, he's not going to run away from you. If you want to have a get-together, he is fine with that idea. But no, I haven't felt that at all.
I guess when a guy plays on the edge every now and then he steps over, do you have to just kind of
Within reason, like that's true, right? You are going to cross the line when you play with that. You also more likely are under far greater scrutiny, so your line isn't quite as far out there as some other guys will get away with a lot more because they haven't early on, or they're real nice to the refs, or whatever the reason is. But yeah, no, there's more. There's much more to this young man than just that, and I don't believe when it's said and done, that will be his legacy. A guy that crossed the line a whole bunch of times. I think you're going to talk about an incredible player who is a very high point producer, who hopefully we can say is a Stanley Cup champion, and his legacy will be quite a bit different than maybe what we think it is right now.
Goaltender tomorrow, Coach?
Yeah.
We're going to have one, for sure.
Addie says I can tell you that Spencer's going.
And how much of that is just a reward for a great game against the Hurricanes?
It's two things. Well, there's a bulk of games for him. We aren't interested in having one goaltender run the table. And this will go back to our January. We're going to need both goaltenders, and we may well rotate them when we get to that point. But we do want, and it can be either Bob or Spencer, we do want those guys to get into some rhythm when they're feeling very good. It's not so much a shutout. It is just good, solid, fine play. So the little details here are when you play the guy in the last game of a road trip on the West Coast and you come back and you put him in the net, that's the pat on the back. That was a pretty good game. So he gets Carolina. So that's where he feels good. The shutout for sure, really well played, so he gets his second one, but you could almost guess who's playing against Washington now by what I've just said. I'm not, Eddie, don't tell anybody who's playing against Washington.
Secret state.
Thank you.
Should be all good. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you.